about you, but I'm feeling sort of hopeful for the future, in a way. In a tiny, tiny way. I don't know what's happening, really. Don't really know what's happening. It has been happening for quite a while, but I think I'm not alone in that. I just got my blanket here because it's quite cold here. It's sort of the signs of spring are in the air. Hello, Andy. The signs of spring are in the air, and it's feeling like there might be some sort of hope in the future. There hasn't been much hope for the last however long it's been. I've lost track of time, but you don't know. This week I had a week off and I volunteered on Wednesday somewhere, and so I've got in my arm, so I'm full of Pfizer at the moment, and so I don't know when the second one's going to be. I only got it because I volunteered. I'm not on the list of the categories yet, although I am working in a place where I should probably be based on where I'm working. They should probably prioritise the people working there, but they're not. But I volunteered, and so yes, I am one of the adults that's half done, and then let's see what's happening. So I don't know whether that's going to make any difference to anything, but my parents are less worried now. They were a bit like, what's no, they're like, my dad is happy. So that's good. That's something good. But what will happen in the future, I don't know. I know that everybody that's working as comedians or entertainers of any sort is really going, but because it's all fallen apart. Not just because of this, because of the situation in Europe, the situation in the world, the situation everywhere. It's been a bit haphazard, hasn't it? I've got another online gig on Wednesday at Pear-Shaped in Dystopia. Hello, Philip. Pear-Shaped in Dystopia. So I don't know whether I'm going to... That's still up on... the first one that I did a couple of weeks ago. They asked for me again because it was... there was a lot of male energy in the room and the people that they booked, and they thought that they booked me as well to make it... Yes, the situation, Andy. So I am doing another gig on Wednesday, and I said, I'm going to have to write more material. And they've got, you've got loads of material. It doesn't have to be new. It's like, yes, but I feel like it should be. Hello, Gina. I feel like it should be new. I feel like new situations require new material that I haven't written. So sometime between now and Wednesday, I am going to have to do something to think of some stuff that's vaguely funny, hopefully funny, and get on it. Something to do with the situation, but not the situation. I don't know. So something's gonna give. So I'm sort of happily... So because most people are like, everything's terrible. I'm getting on with it. To be honest, that's all we can do, isn't it? See what happens, and push ahead with the future. So I'm planning to live for 200 or 300 years more now, all healthy, and if I don't, well, that won't be from want of saying it, whatever. Oh no, I just cursed myself by saying such a thing. I probably have, but you can't. It is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. So so this week coming up, I've got to work again, and then I've got a gig again, and I've got other things. Things are happening. I'm not going anywhere or seeing anything. I did a poll. Because somebody said that putting things on LiveJournal. LiveJournal? Why did I say LiveJournal? I tell you why I said LiveJournal. Because I got reminded this week. People are talking about moving from Facebook and onto the old platforms. And somebody made a joke that everyone's going back to MySpace. And I'm like, what's happening with MySpace? So I tried to log into MySpace, and I realised they've deleted it all. I can't log into my old channel. Doesn't really matter anymore. It turns out that I've still got connections with people like Dara O'Brien and... who's that guy? There's an American guy that definitely contacted me, a comedian. I think it was him because it was like a real account. He was in City Slickers, not Billy Crystal, one of the others. Anyway, I've still got those connections for what it's worth, but no content on MySpace, so it's pointless. I couldn't log into it anyway, although I managed to log in twice to 2 other accounts that I can't even remember starting on MySpace, but not my main one. No, but LiveJournal, Philip, I did manage to log into LiveJournal, and that's all still there. So I posted on LiveJournal, but there's not many people there. I said, is anybody there? And 2 people that I used to be friends with are still doing, they must have just randomly scrolled past and seen it. And then, hello, I'm here. It's like, hello. But there's 2 people out of hundreds and hundreds. And I once downloaded all I had from LiveJournal from the because it started in 2001, a long time ago. I'm not sure when I started it, quite early on, because I was on Television Without Pity. Do you ever remember that? That's so far back. Because I was a big Smallville fan. I loved Smallville. I was obsessed with Smallville, and I wanted to find out everything there was to know about Smallville. So I went on the forums on Television Without Pity, which is very well known for snark. And we all connected each other, and then everybody migrated to LiveJournal. So I went there, and I met lots of other people and lots of new people. Lots of people, and my whole social life, everybody that I knew in the first few years I was in London. I didn't really know them from London, apart from the people from work. Didn't really socialise with the people outside work. Every single person I met was through Television Without Pity or LiveJournal, indirectly or directly, and everybody joined up. And then I moved house in 2002 or 3, and everybody that came to my housewarming party, who was friends with the people that I moved in with, I was like, hang on, how do you, because everybody, they'd invited all their friends. I was like, I know you from that person, and I invited one person to my housewarming party. I only knew one person at my housewarming party, but all the other people were the friends of, and that's where I met Philip. That's where I met you, Philip. And the only person that I knew that I brought actually knew half the people there. And I had no idea why, because it was a completely different section of people. She was from I'd joined Television Without Pity, then moved to LiveJournal, and then I moved to people there, and then I met a load of people that were into paganism and Wiccanism and stuff through that, who were also fans and in fandom and used to write fan fiction and stuff, but it sort of crossed over, and I'm not really a pagan, but I knew a lot of pagan people, and the pagan people and the people that were in for fandom knew all the people from Cambridge and Oxford who were at the party, and they just sort of, everybody knew everything. Everybody from LiveJournal that was there, they'd been on something called Mono, which I was not on. Oh, and I did NaNoWriMo, which was the National Novel Writing Month, and I met people through there. So I met everybody that I knew in London. Everybody knew each other, and they all connected. Everything is connected. And that was all through the internet. So people were going, oh, the internet is the death of society, and it stops you meeting face to face, and the internet's, it's terrible. And I was like, I wouldn't know anybody if it wasn't through the internet. I wouldn't know anybody. Is it still going? I would not know one person, because I met people in real life, and they introduced me to new people, and yes, I met them in real life, but only because of the internet. So it all met, and I met people from Television Without Pity too, because I was also a journalist, and I met them, and so I was at MegaCon in Florida, because I really, really, really had a crush on Michael Rosenbaum. That was in there that played Lex Luthor, and I was like, and there was all the people from Television Without Pity that were going, Michael Rosenbaum, and I was like, no, don't embarrass me, I'm here working, I'm not in fandom, I'm a journalist, but I was in fandom, because I knew all the people that were on the internet that were the fans, and I was like secretly a fan, but I was hanging out with all the people there, because I was journalist and I knew them, so I was like, I'm crossing the streams, I know these people and I know these people, I can't let these people know that I know these people, I know everybody in the world, 6 degrees of separation, everybody knows everybody, the olden days. So did they? It's terrible when they delete things. I was very disappointed that they deleted all my stuff from MySpace, because I had a comedian's account, and I actually got a few job offers from it and everything, and people, I went for an interview with them. They were going to start there was a television show before I went to Edinburgh. The first time, there was a television show that was looking for people, and I applied. No, they asked me to go, and then they never got back to me, so I don't know what happened to it. I think I did quite badly in the interview, really, but I nearly got a job interview. I did get a job interview, and then I messed it up, as I normally do. It tends to be so close, so many times. We're doing this thing, we want you to be involved, and then they meet me, and then they go, no, maybe not. No, it's just, life. All the nearly opportunities I had. But I met so many people, I know so many people, and I still do. And so I went back, getting back to the point, to LiveJournal this week, and went, some people are still there. Fandoms. Yeah, so it was something is with LiveJournal is it's halfway between a social network and a blog, but it was mainly I you could be creative and you could write things and it was great and it was much better than Facebook. But then it got taken over and everybody left. They went to MySpace and then they went to Facebook, and Facebook in the early days was amazing and it was trying to be like MySpace, and it actually had the ability to post content that was, and you could curate your own content and say, look, I'm a musician or a journalist or a comedian or a filmmaker, and here is my stuff, and you could spotlight things. And then they got rid of that and it was all rubbish. But for a while, Facebook was fine, and then it all went downhill, and it's what it is now. I was going to say something derogatory, but it is what it is. Everybody's on Facebook, and everybody uses it. And this week, controversially, they, the whole thing about Australia and can't see the news sites and stuff. It's like, no, yeah, but that's the trouble is people have relied on it. People rely on Facebook and Twitter, and to a lesser degree the other one, TikTok. I know, I joined TikTok, but I haven't posted anything to TikTok because I'm like, I'm not sure how stable TikTok is. I'm not sure I want to really go there and get really attached to TikTok and then go, yeah. And also with Twitch, I put 2 or 3 things out on Twitch, and then I was like, that didn't really work properly. I tried to use the OBS software and stuff, and it went horribly wrong. A couple of the times I used my microphone, because I'd use this microphone on Facebook live stream, but I tried it on Switch and no sound came out, and I was like, what's happening? Look, I haven't plugged it in because I'm using my phone. There's nowhere to plug it. Anyway, I used this, so that was a disaster. And then apparently with Twitch, they get rid of the live streams really quickly anyway. So I was like, what's the point? I don't really know what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, I've run out of power. I had this phone plugged in for ages and ages, and I'm running out of power. I might not have a very long live stream here because it didn't get the power. It was plugged in for ever such a long time. What has happened to my phone? So this is going to be a fairly short live stream, but just to say, it's how many percentage have I got? I can't see. I've got 15% power. So yeah. So I suppose reboot it. I can't reboot. Reboot what? Anyway, reboot something. Yeah. So Twitch. I have an account, but I haven't done anything with it because my brother told me to join Twitch. He's like, it'll change your life. You'll be so mega famous from Twitch. And I did it 2 or 3 times and I don't think I'm a person for Twitch. I'm not really doing anything that anybody cares about. I'll just stick with LiveJournal. I know what I'm doing in LiveJournal, but I don't know what I'm doing on LiveJournal. And I'm not talking about LiveJournal. What am I talking about? This is YouTube. I'm getting so mixed up with my platforms. I'm talking about YouTube. I know what I'm doing on YouTube. I knew what I was doing on LiveJournal. Oh, LiveJournal was exhilarating. Yeah, not as good as when they had GeoCities and Yahoo, what were they called? The groups and stuff. Yeah, that was fun. You could just post on the little, that was fun. Well, it wasn't very user-friendly, and then it got taken over by spam. And then that turned rubbish. But in the early days, GeoCities, you could find your little communities in GeoCities. This is a long time ago. Find your little communities that got taken over by Yahoo, but before that, and then you'd have your little corner of the internet, and all the people would be connected with you, and you'd have your own little website that got joined with it, so you could have a little. So I was very into fandom at that time, and I wrote a lot of fan fiction, which everyone's like, you shouldn't be embarrassed about that. And I used my own name on it to start with, and people are like, are you sure you want your name on it? I'm like, maybe not. But I was quite proud of it, and it's still up there, but not under my own name, because that would be ridiculously silly. But I have done fan fiction. And it's there, if you care to look for it, and if you find it, it's like a treasure hunt. Yes. Anyway, what was so all my friends I know from the internet, even the people, I don't know many people, this are the only people I connect with are you, my lovely people that are in YouTube land there at the moment, because there's nowhere to go and no one to see, except for the people in work, and I don't think the people in work really get me. I like them, and I try to make friends with them, and they're like, wow, they don't get me at all. it's very difficult to get people. So you can work for 100 years at any place that you work at, and nobody will understand you. That's why you need the internet, because you need 7 billion people so that you get at least 2 or 3 that understand you on a certain level and will be your friends. Because otherwise, no. Because you could go your whole life and not find any friends. You have to have the internet. It's so important. It's so special. Oh, the internet. This was, me trying to be famous is probably just trying to find some friends in the world. It's like, I've expressed before I want to be famous, and people are like, do you really? Why do you want to be famous? It's like, so that I can connect, so that people will understand me and think that I'm funny, because it's very difficult in real life to get anybody that has any respect for you at all. Not that anybody, in the world necessarily does, but at least there's more of a chance, a tiny, tiny chance in a 7 billion chance. Anyway, the future. I'm feeling a bit better because, there's some glimmers. Does he? Glimmers. Kevin MacLeod, the musician that does the Creative Commons music. Is that who you're talking about? Yes, because he saw my, because I've used his music. And so he's and I credit his music, obviously, at the end of the things that I've used it on. So maybe that's what you're talking about. Yeah. Incompetech. Yeah, Kevin MacLeod's good. I wrote a song about him. Kevin MacLeod is the king of YouTube, I believe, which is still on my channel. And nobody really watched it. I thought it was hilarious, but not even Kevin MacLeod saw it. But he did feature my cat with hands video that he had, that I used one of his pieces of music underneath, because I used to have a cat that looked like it had hands, and it was a bit creepy. People next door are going, shut up, and I'm like, yes, probably should. And yeah, so Kevin MacLeod knows who I am because I've used his music and credited him, and it gets fed back, and that's how you use Creative Commons. You make sure that people know who used what, and you credit them, and then the joy in the world, and then people give them PayPal money, and that's how people make money. There's no way to make money without people being generous and kind. Oh, which reminds me, I joined Brave for the basic attention tokens about 3 years ago, and I could not get it connected to the thing that made you get paid. So I was like, no, I couldn't prove that I was a person at all to them. So today I had to prove to YouTube that I was over 18, which is really annoying. They've brought in this thing. I tried to watch Björk, All Is Full of Love, the video. It said, this is adult content. I'm like, it's Björk. You have to prove who you are. I'm like, so I had to upload identification to prove that I could watch Björk, because, oh my goodness, that is so shocking, watching a Björk video. Anyway, so I did that. So I was like, oh, I know what else I've never managed to get my upload stuff. It's Upload. It's actually, is it called Upload? Up, something like that. Anyway, you have to prove yourself. And I was like, it didn't work. And it so didn't work that my email address was just that I had connected with it was just like, no, it wasn't letting me, because I had a phone before a phone, and I had to prove with 2-step verification based on the authentication, based on a thing that I have not had for a long time. I was like, what? And I sent a thing earlier this year, and they told me what to do, and I never got around to it. So what I had to do was get a Yahoo account, and make sure that the Yahoo account that I used to have years ago was reactivated so that I could join this new thing. So now I'm on Yahoo again. Or back to the olden days. So now I had to join it to the Yahoo account, and now I am on Brave. And so, if you want, and you've got the Brave browser, you can donate money to me without doing anything at all. I think you just look at my videos through the Brave browser and la-di-da-di-da, and I think somehow, through the magic of magic, I somehow get, because it turns out I've got 0.95 of a bat, which is something like 15 pence, that you have to get a certain amount before they pay you. But already got 15 pence from 3 years worth of having it there and not knowing what to do with it. But if you do, I'll just say you can put me on the list of people who you're happy to donate to sort of passively while you're looking at the Brave browser. So I think it's like if you've got a browser and you don't want to watch the adverts, it's just like passively. I don't know how it works. All I know is that I'm on that now. It's a thing. You've got to make so like 0.5 of a pence of bat is bat for me. Bat for me. So that if you're into that sort of thing, that's good. Cryptocurrency is the wave of the future, isn't it? So the future. This is called something about the future, and I'm talking about the past, the olden days. But it's all linked. Everything is linked. It's all interconnected. Like the people in the world and all the people that I know who know each other already. Every time I meet somebody new, I tell you, they already know each other. And some people go, oh, it's conspiracy. Oh, there's a nefarious underground thing in the background. It's just because everybody somehow knows everybody. It's not, if you're interested in something, then you'll gravitate eventually. If you are in the right circles, and you'll just be yum, yum, yum. But every time I meet somebody, it turns out that I've already got connection with them, and I can connect them with somebody else. So that's people like, are you sure? Yes, it's true. And really, if I meet a random person, I go, do you know that? Yes, the whole joke is like, you're from America. You must know my cousin Keith. It's like, yes, I do. It's like, if I'd asked somebody, then they would know the person I'm talking about, because that's just it. It's all coincidence. It's like my best friend from college went on to do teacher training, and my mum said, oh, the person that owns the gallery that they were exhibiting at, my dad used to exhibit at the gallery, and we helped out on there. He's like, oh, the one that owns the gallery, his son's going to teacher training in that place. You should introduce them. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I didn't introduce them. And then the next thing I knew, they were getting married. So I went to their wedding, and everyone's like, which person do you know? And I'm like, well, I have been invited by the bride, because I knew her from college, but I sort of know that, but we came up with the groom because of that. And everyone's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I don't know how that happened. I didn't introduce them to each other. They just gravitated to each other because, obviously social circles. So it happens. If I know somebody, I'll know somebody that knows them. That's all I'm saying. And it's more or less always going to be the case, because it's just the way things are. There is some sort of thing that says, oh, well, everything's an illusion. And the reason that everybody you know knows everybody you know is there's only really 5 real people in the world. And that's why you keep meeting them. Everyone else is an illusion. I've been watching too much Adam Curtis this week, haven't I? It's just like, random, this is a thing, and that's why this is linked to this thing with this image and this thing. Puppies. Anyway. Yeah, well, there's still got a little bit of power left. 6%, so I can talk for 6% more time. It's sort of nearing the end of when I'm usually near the end anyway. So, the whole thing is, everything is connected. I know everybody through the internet. I love the internet. The internet is my home. It's lovely. I love the internet. If it goes away, I will be so sad. And things come and go. Facebook. If Facebook disappears tomorrow, who really cares? Because I've been through so many different things. We'll just go find somewhere else. We'll all go together. We all go together when we go find somewhere else. But I don't know what it is yet. That's the thing. Because Twitter, I joined Twitter very early on, and I'm not a big fan of Twitter, to be honest. It's a bit like, it's too open to abuse. Because the trouble with Twitter is if you say something, everybody can see it, and everybody jumps on the bandwagon, and it's all quite toxic. And it's all so short that you can't really clarify. Even though it's twice as many characters as it used to be, still not enough to clarify your position without looking like a complete idiot. and saying stupid things that you probably shouldn't have said, and then you'll get cancelled. Whereas everywhere else you can go, this is what I meant, and I'll explain it in depth, and then if you don't understand it, that's fine, but at least I've told you and explained it. Whereas in Twitter it's like, this thing, and everyone's like, no, and then everybody's fighting, and everybody can see it. The 2 times I've said something that's a little bit controversial about somebody else, I'm like, this person does. Said something like, oh, this obscure song I heard, it's very nice, but I think that they use too much auto-tune. And then the person whose song it was said, I don't use auto-tune, and I'm like, oh, I didn't mean you to see it. And another time I said something, I stepped into a controversial issue and name-checked the person that I thought was a controversial person that was well known. I'd read articles about them, and I was like, this person's a terrible person. And they came back to me and went, what do you mean I'm a terrible person? I'm like, no! So I immediately blocked them so they couldn't see any of my tweets, because they followed me. They followed me after I said something about them. And I was like, I don't know whether that's automatic or whether you're just trying to trick me or whether you're like trying to get me. But I'm going to just step out of this conversation now. And I was like, I'm never saying anything about anybody famous again, because they will find you and they will not like it. So that's why I don't really like Twitter, because I got very scared about that whole thing. It's buzzed. Is it buzzed? It's probably going to cut out very soon. Anyway, before I'm ignominiously cut off, I will just say goodbye. That's probably it. And yeah, like I said, if you've got the Brave browser, get to me. We'll find a good social media platform or some sort of platform that we can all... This is still here. Everybody, subscribe to me on YouTube and we'll all be friendly here together. That'll be fun. Yeah, or somewhere else, I don't know. Anyway, the future, yay! It can't be worse than the past, can it? Hopefully not. Let's see what happens. Anyway, it's been a joy. I'm spitting up like the top. This is a sort of a, it's more of a dressing gown type pyjama top than anything else. And I wore this when I was volunteering. I didn't realise that it was also a pyjama top. It says bonjour. I didn't read it. I don't know where I got it from. It's got all French on it. Anyway, I wore it because it's short sleeve and it was like stick bing, easy to get and go. Anyway, I should probably go now. Have a lovely week. Have a lovely time. I hope your future is bright and wonderful and everything works out for the best. Let's hope. All right then, I will see you then. Bye bye.